I've never related more to an anime character that happened to be a giant talking bird, but when I see Philo say she hates that spear hero guy, I can't help but say that's one of the most relatable lines in recent memory. Once again, we get another slice of life style episode of The Rising of the Shield Hero. This was actually, though, my favorite out of all of them in terms of being a more downtime focused episode. If we compare the past few that we've had in terms of kind of using this style, I think this was the best one, mainly because it was damn hilarious. I've mentioned it before, the comedy in Shield Hero naturally comes across as funny without feeling forced or like they're trying to make a gimmick into a joke. It just, naturally, these interactions, they crack me up. They've cracked me up from the first episode when you just have the heroes, their first reaction to being transported to a world is, are we going to get paid? Stuff like that is just naturally funny. This episode had a lot of killer moments. We even get introduced to Worst Girl's sister, who is actually first in line for the throne despite being younger than her older sister just because her older sister is such a problematic child. That's awesome. Like, honestly, be more like your sister, because this girl, like, I did know that was her sister because sites like My Anime List and other sites, they have the first and last name, so I did know that they shared the same last name, so they had to be family. So it didn't come as a surprise, but I did like the build up to it because they're really showcasing this very interesting friendship between Philo as well as Mel, because we essentially have this girl who has this love for birds, basically Philo's species, and it was just a very charming friendship and interaction because you just kind of see Naofumi being like the father figure, being like, okay, to his daughter, okay, I got business to take care of, just be home before dinner and you can play with your new friend. I like how he has this relationship where he's just so naturally good to his two companions. And it was just very heartwarming to see these very simple scenes as Naofumi's doing his job, he's healing up the sick. He's going to the temple to essentially get the holy water to cure Raftalia. And I love just these little interactions. Like, his first thought at the church was basically like, why is the shield the only one left out? There's these little moments that naturally will make you crack up because it's such a natural response. It's not him trying to be a goofball or try to be funny. It's actually a pretty painful moment for him. Like, seriously. All the other heroes are present, but not me. It pisses him off, but it comes across as pretty damn funny to us. And then you'll have these moments like inside the church where you'll see like everyone except the Pope essentially be like, screw this guy. He just wants his holy water to cure Raftalia. The price is pretty steep, and then he's throwing around romantic ass lines being like, a piece of gold is nothing in comparison to you. And then you'll have the Pope be like the only genuinely good one because you'll see like he's trying to get sold this like shitty ass holy water for a shit ton of money, and then the Pope's being like, pimp hand up in here being like, hey, listen, give him what he deserves. This is a place of holy worship. So I'm glad at least some rulership in this kingdom seems to be working out, and the fact that the next in line in terms of the kingdom is actually a decent girl, maybe this kingdom isn't as lost as we once thought, but the fact that Naofumi did just shut this shit down, like, so you're telling me that you're related to the woman who's made my life incredibly hell? I can't trust any of you, especially after what the king's done. Naofumi shut shit down, and I love how this really highlights, even though it's surrounded by such a comedy aura, like this is one of the best highlights of Naofumi's hatred for this world because he completely shuts down Mel, being like, I cannot trust you, even after what we've seen. The fact that you're related to the two people who have made my life essentially hell and pretty much unbearable, you can go to hell. I absolutely love stuff like that. You'll have moments where, like, essentially, Naofumi and Raftalia are contemplating, did Philo eat this royalty's daughter? Like, okay, Naofumi's first reaction, let's just hide the evidence. It's like not trying to be overly funny by being like, let's make a joke. It's just him naturally being like, well, shit, if royalty finds out that we lost her daughter, we're gonna be screwed even more, so let's hide the evidence. And Raftalia's being like, are you absolutely ridiculous? And then you'll just see like her pop out that she's sleeping in Philo's feathers, and then you'll have Raftalia being like, oh shit, they're actually soft. There's so many like little sweet and adorable moments that usually wouldn't work in a series like The Rising of the Shield Hero, where it is so dark and gloomy for most of it. But I guess now we can kind of say it's been about 50-50 now that we are so many weeks into it. But it's nice how natural the interactions feel because that's how a world is. It's not always things suck. There will be downtime. There will be simple moments that aren't going to want to make you kind of scratch your eyes out because of what you just witnessed. So I like how we're kind of reinforcing this idea of an actual family growth and kind of bond sequence in such a subtle and noticeable way that doesn't come across as feeling fake or forced. It just feels natural, and it just is so amusing. And when it's not being funny, it's usually pretty damn sweet. We're seeing so many little things, and even when they reintroduce Worst Boy, Spear Hero being like, I want you to release the slave bullshit, they somehow find a way to make him a worse character. If it wasn't bad enough that he was trying to be this morally righteous guy while being manipulated by the worst chick in this kingdom, he now has a fetish for little girl bodies. Like, it's almost like this author just keeps throwing more and more things our way to be like, hey, you thought you hated Spear Hero already? I'm gonna make you hate him even more. And the fact that Philo basically just kicks him in the nuts again, I hope that's a reoccurring joke. Honestly, as kind of childish as it is, I really hope that's a reoccurring joke, because essentially Philo just loves kicking his ass, and now Fumi absolutely appreciates it, even though Raftali's kind of like the mother being like, you shouldn't spoil her in this situation, that's bad behavior, but the father's like, nah, it's the perfect behavior. Like, this guy's an absolute dick. I just love how natural this episode felt, because a lot of the stuff on the surface level is kind of cliche, kind of typical for a lot of these kind of fantasy worlds trying to be like, oh, here's a harem, but that's not what this is. If anything, he's building like a group of females in this family dynamic. Like, you can tell Mel will most likely fall in love with the shield hero. Like, that's kind of the formula. Like, everyone seems like they want to fall in love with the shield hero, but love is the last thing on Naofumi's mind. And I think the only one he would probably end up going with eventually could be Raftalia, down the line potentially. But even then, it's more like focused on these characters themselves and actually showing us that they are a character. They are a person. They have their own motives and beliefs and things like that. And to see that we have this girl who has such a design that you would think would be such a cliche and bullshit character, immediately with someone with personality. We got to understand her love for these birds. We got to understand that she does have a personality. She's very bubbly, but also at the end of the episode, we get to see that she is a very just ruler. She doesn't want bullshit to happen, and she's even willing to pull the mom card out if bitch doesn't fall in line. It's just really nice how we're getting to see these characters who should be nothing more than a one-and-done trope in pretty much any other author's hands, at least in recent anime times, but we're actually seeing they're a character. They might look like a trope at first glance just because we're typically used to these types of designs being one thing and one thing only, but we're seeing that it's actually a pretty interesting take on what we're expecting and making it into something new. The fact that now Fumi is sticking to his guns and hating this kingdom, because it's going to take a lot of repair to make you trust the kingdom that has screwed you over. This kingdom almost made him lose control and pretty much self-destruct. Like, this is the worst kingdom possible, and even if it's just the father and this older sister being horrible people, that still happened. You still let that happen. Why the hell should I trust you? You're probably no better, and you're just trying to lure me in to make me hate everything. It's just really interesting. I like how now Fumi is sticking to his guns. He's someone who's like, when I accept jobs, I will help you, but you have to pay me. When he's leaving this one village, he's like, next time I come around, be sure to pay me. When he's helping Philo out, being like, okay, I'll take your friend to her parents, but make sure I get paid. This man is very determined. Like, he's like, I'm gonna get the hell out of this world. Screw this world. I hate this world. I like you two, but I'm gonna get the hell out of this world. I'm gonna get paid, gonna make sure our lives are decent. We can eat well, we can sleep well, but I hate this world. And I like how even surrounded by that, they can still make it generally charming and funny. And it was a very amusing episode. Like, in terms of like the most emotionally gripping episodes, there's still better episodes than this one. But in terms, if we compare it to the slice of life, charming style episodes that we've seen in the past, this was definitely my favorite out of them. I think there's been 3 or 4 up till now. It was a very interesting episode that had a lot of charm, a lot of comedy, a lot of character. This was an episode full of character, and there's so many moments that just left me smiling. Like, you'll just sometimes see Philo pop up in the background behind a character, and in any other anime that would be like a horror sequence, like a giant bird creeping up behind you, but in here it's a charming interaction between Raftalia as well as Philo. It's just very nice how much episodes like these can reinforce characters like Naofumi in terms of what they do for the world, why they do it, their hatred for the world, but then you'll also get introduced to just the charming sides and also character introductions for someone who clearly will be a relevant character to come. I mean, if she's first in line to the throne, this chick's gonna have some importance, and right now I'm willing to believe she's a decent person, especially the fact that she pulled the mother card and being like, hey bitch, fall in line or mama's gonna come and smack you upside the head. It was very, very amusing. There's a lot of still frames in this episode, a lot of kind of cutting around, showing us just the daily life of our group, especially when Mel was in the cast here, but I thought they did a really solid job at just getting across that charming atmosphere, showing us a bunch of things that happened in their day, and then when we did get into a little bit of the action near the end of the episode, it was pretty much what we expected here. Spear Hero trying to be a dumbass, he's blowing up the sidewalks, things like that, and then now Fumi just being like, why do I have to deal with this guy? Can I not just kill him? The animation, it didn't go like overboard, but I thought for the style of episode that they were trying to tell here, it was actually pretty fitting. There wasn't too many inconsistent dips here. There was a couple art issues here or there, but overall it felt like a pretty polished episode for the style that it was going for. And I just love hearing Philo happy. Just her voice acting is charming, it's adorable, and Mel's actress I thought really sold that performance. I thought from the design, from what I saw, I had an idea of what that voice would be, and it was kind of matching what I thought the trope would be for a character just at first glance. But she actually came across as fairly professional, like almost like she had that child innocence, like when she was playing with the birds. But in terms of like being stern and telling her sister to back off, you got a sense of authority and you could take her seriously even though she was a child, which is something that I have to compliment because that would be a very easy character design to mess up just visually, but adding in that really strong voice acting really helps sell the character, and I just love seeing Raftalia just really embrace Naofumi for being such a great guy while trying to be someone who wants to keep hating everything, but she's trying to get him back to pull away, maybe embrace the light a little bit more. She's seeing just how good he is, canceling trading trips just so he can get the medicine for her. It was really nice, and like, it seems like the curse wasn't something that was going to kill her, it was just more that it was going to penalize her and make her suffer, not kill her, and he was still willing to sacrifice extra money and time for jobs so they could get back to the capital and get the holy water. Like, it's just great to see moments like this. It really reinforces this idea that this cast is so tight together. They believe in one another, but it also reinforces that Naofumi absolutely despises this world, and even if, after everything that he's seen, putting bitch in her place, he still can't trust this family, because why would you? That is the logical and emotional right outcome, because you really gotta prove yourself if you even want me to take you seriously. That's gonna be pretty exciting to see how that relationship is going to evolve going forward. A very charming, very characteristic episode. It was a great episode, honestly. I wouldn't expect calling an episode like this great. I would usually just say it was a good episode, but I honestly thought it was great. I had a smile on my face, I was laughing, and I even got a little bit of that emotional rage at the end, which was a nice way to tie up the episode overall. But let me know what everyone thought of this week's episode of The Rising of the Shield Hero, the kind of charming direction that it went, the new character Mel, whatever you're thinking about this episode, let me know down in the comment section below. Remember to leave a like if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. But until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.